So I've not actually posted a video for about a month, and I'm still writing my book, and I've still got a couple of videos to film about that journey before I kind of move on to different kind of content, because I've been feeling that talking about yourself and getting into your mind actually starts draining after a while. But like with the writing of the book, it's just taking a bit of time, because the thoughts or the stories weren't really coming as quickly as they had for all the previous chapters. But I've just finished writing the 25th chapter, so basically finishing the book. So I want to just finish doing a couple more videos, and then I can do a wee bit more fun things, maybe doing fitness and stuff. So I hope you don't mind going through these videos again with me, but I'm just going to get right into it, because this first one is just about getting actually closure from my wife that I never actually spoke to for like 7 months until the start of the kind of writing. It's been about a month ago. So I'm just going to get into the story. So for months I thought letting go would happen when I finally understood why my marriage ended. Then I thought maybe it would happen when I got the closure I'd been looking for. But what I didn't realise was that letting go had very little to do with forgetting someone. It was about noticing how much of my life was still being spent looking backwards, and finally choosing where I wanted that energy to go instead. So one of the most important conversations of my healing journey began with me actually hiding my own phone number. So the divorce was moving forward, and I was basically I kept emailing my wife, and it just kept falling on deaf ears, just like it had for the past 7 months. At the time, I didn't realise that you could just block somebody on email. So I'd been sending emails to her probably every 3 weeks or whatever. When I'm like going through all these thoughts, writing the book, it's basically about my healing journey and building myself back up from scratch. So every now and again, I didn't mean to, but I kept writing emails, and every time I never got a reply. So when I was going through the kind of financial part of the divorce, I wrote her an email saying that's what I was going to do, but again, falling deaf ears. But there came a point that I actually needed some details from her, so I decided to phone her and just hide my number. So obviously playing in my head, I was thinking that I just needed her to not hang up. Obviously in the past 7 months, I built up in my head that she was getting the emails and just deleting them, or reading through them and not caring. So I was kind of building a picture in my head that she absolutely hated me. So I was just prepared to just get in there, get a phone call, just say, don't hang up, and can I get these details? But what was actually surprising was when she answered the call. It wasn't it wasn't like a reaction I was expecting. It was actually her own kind of calm voice that she used to have with me before, and just said, "How are you doing?" And that really took me by surprise, because I wasn't expecting that. But we chatted for about 10 minutes, and it was just mostly to do with this kind of financial divorce. But yeah, I would just as I said, chatting normal and stuff, and then nothing really happened with the call. But after the call, that's when things started kind of put questions in my head, because I'm like, well, if I've built a picture of she absolutely hating me for these past 7 months, then maybe with that would be change. So maybe she didn't hate me, and maybe there was other options there. And without me realising it, I started building hope up again. And I think that's what's happened through my healing journey, or splitting up with her. Because when you love somebody so much and you weren't expecting to split up with them. Like, especially in my mind, like, I'll try one thing and then it doesn't work, so immediately something else will come in my head, and I'm very creative with my mind. So for so long I've always had all these different thoughts of how we could possibly get back together, if I could change, if she could see the man I've become, if like the funding arrived, if, yeah, just so many different like options. So I've explored quite a lot. So I went to bed that night, and then the next morning, that's when these kind of hopeful thoughts kind of happened, and just playing the conversation in my head. Now obviously, like, getting a financial divorce, it's just an extra legal kind of thing to make sure that nobody can claim for like your house, your pension, or any future income kind of thing when you're like still like married. So I said to her about it, and in the conversation replaying in her head, she just says, "Why do you need it?" And I was trying to explain to her, but it just didn't really come out properly. But in my hopeful ideas, the next morning I wanted to give her a call again, so I basically tried phoning her. She never replied, and then she just texted, "And can you just email what you want?" And I was like, "Oh, it's too important to just email." So I waited, and then she basically phoned me back in 10 minutes. So right away, like, I've got all this hopeful ideas of like what I could try to propose to her and stuff like that. So in my head I was like, right, well, if she doesn't really see a purpose in the financial divorce, then maybe I could cancel it, get the money back, go drive down to York, do a couples counselling, and maybe take her on a date. So this is where my wee hopeful mind went to. So I'm trying to explain that, and I couldn't get my words out, because for some reason, like, although I've changed as the person that like I am now, and a lot more calmer, I'm not like so in my head, and like I'm not the person I was when we split up basically. But I immediately just took my like thoughts back to that kind of person I was. I couldn't get my words out, I wasn't calm, a bit too emotional. And then she just says, "John, what is it you actually want?" And then so I explained to her, but as soon as I couldn't even get to the last part, and she just says, "John, I'm going to stop you there. Like, I'm like happy on my own. I'm actually like, yeah, moved on, and I don't want to kind of go back to our relationship." And basically she says, "Your life has always brought chaos into mine, and I feel a lot more calmer now." So I just says, "Well, thanks for taking your call," and kind of just left. And after the call, I just sat in my cab for a wee bit longer and just paused with those kind of thoughts. And I think, to be honest, I felt a bit of relief, because like for so long I built up the idea that she hated me and that I was just going to have to build my life without her and stuff. But as soon as I heard her calm voice, and obviously all the thoughts kept rushing back in when I was replaying the kind of conversation and speaking to her, I realised I went back to that person I was before we split up. So all the work that I was doing the past 7 months, like, that went out the window. And for me, I probably, if she actually says, "Right, well, let's go for a date," then I would have probably just dropped everything to go and see her again, to go on a date, to try to make it work, and probably sacrifice too much. And that's the feeling and thoughts I was having at the time when I went through this like 4 weeks ago. So after that, as I said, I felt a wee bit of relief and just kind of moved on, genuinely thinking that that was the kind of right decision, and kind of feeling a wee bit more settled, a wee bit more, content of that decision. So basically I emailed her and kind of just wrote, right, thank you very much, and like, I'm grateful that you've you were in my life, and I have made all these changes and stuff, and everything basically that the past 7 months that I was writing, but I never got a chance to really kind of like say to her. And yeah, just saying to her basically that I feel that that conversation actually gave me closure, because when we kind of split up before in May last year, and then we dated again in September and October, and by November basically she says, I don't want to do this anymore. So we did have a few dates, and by that time she saw me and she got the closure that she needed, and it was her decision to split up with us at that moment in time. But for me, like, I get built up all this hope that we could still be together and stuff like that. So for the past 7 months, like, she just blocked me, and I went through, like, as I said before in this YouTube channel, the 3 days of despair where I just like really hit rock bottom from it all, and then had the opportunity, as I've been saying, to build myself back up from scratch. But with her blocking me, she took away like any voice I had or any response. So I've been struggling for 7 months to try to get closure. And I know a lot of people say that you need to get closure from yourself. Nobody can really give you that closure. But just having that conversation, speaking to her, and hearing the kind of finality in her words, her voice, to say that, yeah, I'm moving on and I don't want to ever kind of get back with you, kind of thing. So I managed to get that kind of closure. But yeah, like, another thing in the email I said is, because when I proposed to her, she said to me that day that she felt as if she was here to help heal me. Now, I wrote that in the email as well, that yeah, I feel as if although the relationship was kind of ended, that the healing was actually what that came through from it. Because like, from like heartbreak and through all the things that kind of she said and kept replaying in my head, and I never actually got a chance to kind of speak to her, kind of thing, that yeah, like, you're not my person, like, you need to get your own independence, like, the way you are with your boys isn't right, how you go about manifesting is all wrong, I can't be with somebody just for their potential. Now, each one of those kind of comments over the past like 7 months has actually been a bit like a lighthouse for me, because in the kind of start, like earlier on in my book, I kind of said that I felt as if my life, I was just drifting at sea with no direction, not realising that the steering wheel was in front of me and I just had to take control of that steering wheel. But those kind of phrases that my wife said were kind of like, as I said, beacons or lighthouses to kind of just say, right, this is the direction you need to be going on. This is the kind of work that you need to be doing for yourself. Now, she does do like hypnotherapy, so she is a therapist, but I don't think it's just because of that. I think because she really knew who I was deep down, that she could see that, and I couldn't see it because I was just not in control of my life. I kind of always said that I felt as if my life was 99, like as if my cup was 99% full, that just anything else like put into it just spilled it over. Now that is because I wasn't consciously choosing anything in my life. I was just letting my life happen to me, and that is just, it is chaos. And that is the meaning of the words that she says, that you bring chaos into my life. Because yeah, like, I never made plans, I never did anything. I just like walked through life, but like Peter Pan. In my younger days, it actually fitted me, it actually worked. And that was because I was in alignment with like my job, where I was traveling and all that kind of stuff. And that's given me the knowledge when I unpacked it all, that that's why I was a bit like that. So I just presumed that that's how I could live my life. And then when responsibilities and having kids and stuff happened to kind of come into my life, and I left the job that I was passionate and meaningful towards me, that's when I really drifted, and that's when I really struggled. So I couldn't just keep subconsciously just wandering through life and expect everything to work out for me. Now, as I said with this whole, like the phrase that I feel as if I'm here to help heal you, like obviously, as I said, that relationship is gone, and that's what I thought, that we would be together for the rest of our lives, grow old together, and like that healing would just go, like, would come through just being together. But actually losing the person that you love was the biggest wake-up call that I really needed in my life, because I don't think anything small would have actually knocked me or brought me back into the correct path, because I was so far adrift. I was just always kind of waiting for that external like funds to arrive. But I've been waiting for nearly 18 years, just always next week that's going to happen. So I always kept putting my life on hold and just thinking my life will start next week when the funds arrive. But the thing about manifestation as well is that if you always think that something's going to happen or something's going to arrive, then it's never actually here. It's always going to arrive. So that's been the case with it all. So I've had to really kind of own up to it all and yeah, try to change my life personally, like individually. Now obviously I have spoke to you before that, like obviously losing my wife was like the biggest heartbreak of my life. But a couple of years before, I lost my aunt that I was really close to. So that's been two major like losses in my life. And when I lost my aunt, it really sent me into my mind, trying to figure out what's the purpose of life and why she had to die, and the meaning of like how she kind of was like the glue of her family, and like the kind of parties that she hosted and stuff, what they really meant. And that's where the vision of my resorts that I've spoke about has came from, like a sense of belonging and like meaning and purpose of life. Because another wee story that happened in the past like month was that I was at work and one of the guys actually just says that he was just like, after work he was just, I'm just working, like I feel as if I'm just working, then I go home, get my dinner, see my kids, watch TV for a bit, and then sleep, and then repeat the same thing. And he paused for a second, as if to like kind of really contemplate it. And then he says, is that it? Is that what life is about, or life is offered? Now that obviously, as I said, that kind of rang true to me, because those are the words that I've questioned myself. And obviously when my Aunt Slàinte passed away, that's the kind of question, the deep dive that I did. Because I feel as if my aunt did have a really fulfilling life, and it really kind of shone a torch on how I was living my life, and I wasn't living my life to that kind of full potential or enjoyment and like fun that I used to have when I said that my life was, when I was living my life in alignment and just kind of wandered through life like Peter Pan. So that was the kind of like, yeah, the kind of, as in the kind of whole thoughts behind it, because I don't want to just build resorts for the sake of something really cool and like awesome to look at. for people to spend holidays. Like, yeah, that's like where you'd make the money kind of thing. But the main reason behind it is for building a community and the people that actually work there, and it's like actually building jobs or creating jobs that are purposeful and meaningful, and building a community there that it's fun to live there, and to actually say, this is what life's about, this is how, do you know what I mean? Like, for me, that's why I feel as if I went on that vision quest in the first place, because I was thinking, what am I missing in my life? Where would I like to live, like to work, like to kind of be involved in? And that's what I built my vision from. It was like an idea of, that's where I would like to be going to work every single day. Be surrounded by like-minded people. If they're passionate about their job, seeing a way forward in life and actually enjoy life again. Now that's where the visions came from. And then from losing my wife, it basically, like when she says, I can't be with somebody just for their potential, it was like those kind of words that the vision that I've got of building the retreats, of, as I said, the kind of life that I'm wanting to live, I was so far away from that it created a massive gap. And that's the journey I've went on in this healing journey of trying to close that gap as such from that. So yeah, that was what I was saying about the kind of the loss of the kind of two of the kind of loves of my life kind of thing, or people in my life. And then another thing that my wife did say, that the way I was with my kids isn't right. So obviously before I couldn't really like kind of defend myself against it because we weren't talking. But it became true, because when I was living down in York with her, it was like a 5-hour drive with my electric car back up to Glasgow, and I used to drive up after night shift. So I was already doing 10-hour shifts, driving an hour back to York and then 5 hours back to Glasgow, a few hours sleeping and getting my boys. So when I was with them, I wasn't really present. I was just shattered. It was like I was kind of just chilling out, watching YouTube. And the more that you do that, the more it becomes a habit. As I said, I've been speaking about getting over addictions, getting over bad habits, replacing good habits and stuff. And then that's when I realised that the life that I created with my boys was because of the habits that I had with them. It was my influence, the way that I showed up in their life. And that's what my wife is meaning, the way I was with my boys. So basically, my cousin moved to Canada at the start of the summer, and I spoke to her on a phone call, and she just says that I've got a place for you if you want it here. So before, through all my life, as I said, I've just always been projecting things into the future. Always like, once the kind of funding arise, my life would change, and I kept just putting off like experiences and fun things to the future date. But obviously, because I've been changing, and because of what my wife said as well about the way I am with my boys isn't right, so I kind of promised myself that I was wanting to take them away somewhere before they went back to like school. So with that kind of offer of, I've got a place for you, that's when it really kind of started to hit. So the next day I went and asked my work to get, if I can get some time off. I managed to get 8 days off, and then I asked mum, like I borrowed some money from my mum to book some flights. So I went up to the boys' mum's house that same afternoon, and I just says, like, this is my plan. Like, I could I've got accommodation in Canada, I can get the flights, I can get time off, and I'd like to take them abroad. Now right away, my ex basically says that it was a very ambitious goal of 8 days with my boys, because I've actually only ever had them overnight at my mum's for about 2 or 3 nights at the most. So I've never did that before. But obviously she's known like all the work I've been doing through all this, the changes I've been making, the effort I've been putting in with my boys to try to be present, and obviously my intentions as well. So she basically says, yeah, you can take them, kind of thing. So having that kind of like trust behind that as well. I actually phoned one of my friends, my best pal, Suave, and I said to him, I was like, after he was speaking for a bit, I said to him, oh, my cousin moved to Canada and she says there's accommodation for me. And like before I was kind of even saying anything, he immediately thought in his head that I was going to go to Canada for a month on my own, because that's the person I've always been. I've never been able to, like, as I said, like, being so stressed in life, my cup always been 99% full, that I can't handle normal life, trying to get away from it. So throughout the years, I've always just ended up going to Ibiza for like a week on my own or something, just to escape my life. And that is normally, as I said, that's always my first reaction. If I had time, if I had money off, that's what I would do. But this time, because I've been building structure in my days and changing my routine and going through all this healing journey, that my first thoughts was to do something nice with my boys. So when I said to him, I was like, no, I'm going with my boys for 8 days, he was like surprised, but in a good way. And he just says that he's quite proud of me. So having those kind of two people saying to me that they could see the difference that I was making, that later on that day I actually sent an email to my wife just saying that I'm taking my boys to Canada because I felt proud of myself. And obviously because of what she said about how you are with your boys isn't right. And I think before as well, like me and her were actually planning on going to Canada before as well, before we split up. So yeah, it was just a wee kind of thing to say, planting a seed to show her that I was changing. But nothing really came from that. And then I think it was like a week later that another thought in my head came up about like the way I was. Like, you're not my person. Because like one morning I just woke up and I couldn't get away with it, because she says you're not my person. And for 7 months I've just been taking that as like kind of true, or not necessarily true. It was the one I couldn't really understand properly. So that night, or that like morning, you always have like kind of really clear thoughts, like when you like you're like dreaming or in the shower or something, you're kind of subconscious kind of helps you. So yeah, that kind of question was in my head, and it was like, you're not my person. But I was like, well, when did I actually stop being her person? Because we actually were so in love. When we got married, we actually were intending to be with each other for the rest of our lives. And we did have an amazing time. But, so for me, it wasn't necessarily, oh, you're not my person. It was, when did I stop becoming her person? And like, as I said before, for the last 18 months of our lives together, that's when I just really struggled. Like, as in, I was like, the whole waiting for the funds became a bit intense. I became a lot more unhappy, and my Aunt Slàinte passed away at that time. So that's when I really went into my head about building the resorts and Idea Night in the first place. And I just thought that if I could just dream it big enough, that it will just manifest. So I really was, yeah, a bit intense with it all. And yeah, by the end of it, it was actually me that walked away from my wife, because I had to get away from my own life the way I was. because you're not my person. I wasn't my person either. It was, I felt as if I just needed some time, some space to try to figure it out, to try to come back to the person that like she knew when we first got together. And that's what I feel as if this whole journey, the healing journey's been about, is that not I was trying to become someone new, but I was trying to remember who I actually was all along and just get rid of all the kind of bad habits and all the rest of it kind of thing. So that is what my journey's been about. So yeah, I kind of end up saying to her as well, like in a different email, just saying like, I was your person one day, and I was definitely not the person at the end, because I wasn't the person for me either. But it doesn't necessarily mean I couldn't be your person in the future. So I just sent that as a wee bit of planting a seed. But there was actually another moment I finally understood it differently. Because like I was actually like struggling for a while when I actually started this like kind of healing journey, when we first broke up kind of thing. That actually I always like struggled to, as I said, I had this idea in my head of, right, this is what I want to manifest, this is what I want to dream. If I dream big enough, it'll just happen. But then because I dreamed too big, I struggled to kind of start off like small or think small. So I remember like meeting one of my friends, and it was up at Bovril Castle actually, and there was like kind of ruins of this kind of circular turret, and I was kind of like, the circle reminded me of, or like kind of, it was a kind of perfect analogy for me to say to him that this wall kind of felt as if that was my life, that I was going round this wall, kept going round and round, trying to figure a way into the centre. And the centre of the turret would be the life that I've imagined, the dream, like the person I want to become, etc. And I just couldn't ever find my way, like my starting point. And so I was just chatting away for like 5-10 minutes. And then my friend actually says, John, look where you're standing. And I was standing in the middle. And that was just one of those weird ones that for so long I was trying to figure out a way how to start. And just for him saying, look, you're already there, you've already started your life. So I went away that night, and I was thinking, I was like, well, if that's me starting my life, what is the proof that I've started it? And that's when it was like doing the walks, the exercises again, starting the kind of, actually I think it was before the YouTube channel, that's what it was. But it was just like, yeah, it kind of, there was like proof enough for me to think that that was the start of my journey, the start of my life, of me becoming the person in my vision, the person I've always imagined I would become. And that's when I actually started the YouTube channel, because I was actually thinking, well, if this is me started, then what do I need to do next? And that's when the kind of taking one step happened. It was like, right, if I'm going to start doing a YouTube channel, let's just start doing it, let's start creating it. Because I felt as if like it was momentum, I was building momentum, I was just starting, grinding towards like what I needed to become. And that has been the case. It's like taking one step, like starting the YouTube channel led me on to doing all these different habits, finding all these different principles, led me on to wanting to write a book. I'm basically at the end of my book now. And yeah, like with my YouTube channel, like it is actually, I knew it was going to take a long time, because like for me, like a lot of people say when YouTube, you need to do it for at least 3 years before you even think about becoming successful. And so for me, it was always a long-term goal that I could see myself in the future building my resorts, and through this YouTube channel building like a following or a community, and then showcasing what I'm actually building. And that's kind of what I want to do. So yeah, like as I said, like one step from that kind of wee phrase kind of jumped me into it, into the start of where I was going with my life kind of thing. So I actually spent years looking for the entrance to my life without noticing I was already standing inside it. And obviously, like as I said before about like that friend of actually saying, yeah, is this it when it comes to life? And obviously for me saying about like understanding like my aunt's life and building the vision of feeling as if that's what I'm longing for, like living life to the fullest again. Because for me, I think I've said before that I've actually had a really great life, like done so much like fun and extreme things that yeah, I kind of lived life to the fullest. But then for the past 10 years it felt as if it's been reversed. Like I've had 2 divorces now, like and like really struggled doing a job that I don't enjoy, and having like so many like loved ones pass away, like my dad, my grandparents, my aunt, and then losing the love of my life as well. So I feel as if like life is a bit of a balance and a bit of a yin and yang, that you have the good and then the bad comes with it as well. Now to kind of have the capacity to kind of actually understand that or hold that, then that's when you need structure and routine in your life. Otherwise you'd just be like me, and as I said, living my life subconsciously, like a bit like Peter Pan. So when any kind of major thing happened, it just crushed me and just sent me down different spirals and stuff. So yeah, for me, I feel as if like if the funding arrived even like last year, before all this kind of healing journey started, I wouldn't have the capacity to actually build what I'm really wanting to build, because I wouldn't have strong foundations. So I know people always say about divine timing and stuff like that, but yeah, like I feel as if I've had to go on this healing journey. I've had to experience what I've experienced and had to kind of build the structure and yeah, get my head in the game. So then if it does come like next week or whenever, then I can like go forward with it and hold it as if it's like, yeah, no problem, I know exactly what I'm doing. So yeah, so I think, as I said, with like my wife as well, that I do feel as if I have got closure from it all. And that was just, as I said, being like kind of like managing to speak to her again, and just to hear from her and just saying, nah, like this is I'm fully moved on and don't want your kind of chaos in your life, even though that's exactly what I'm kind of getting rid of, is chaos. Because like obviously for me, I didn't let go because I stopped caring. I let go when I stopped creating another future in which the past could still return. So after I kind of got the kind of closure, that's when I realised that I've now got more energy to put into my own self, like the channel. Like I want to start going down a more of a kind of health and wellness, health and fitness kind of thing, and nutrition stuff. I want to kind of, yeah, instead of, because I went back to like 5 days at work, I'm going to go back down to 4. So I've got that extra time for me, and just get back into the direction and really lock in on where I'm wanting to go with it all. So, as I said, I've got another 1 or 2 videos to do, and I will post that next week as well, or this week, next week, and then I can start taking this channel down in the direction I'm kind of wanting to go. For a long time I thought healing meant reaching the point where the past stopped mattering. I don't think that anymore. My marriage mattered. The life we shared mattered. The things my wife said to me mattered. And I'll probably carry parts of that relationship with me for the rest of my life. But carrying something isn't the same as continuing to live inside it. That was the difference I couldn't see. I'd spent months trying to understand the past, then months imagining different ways the future might somehow bring it back. All the while, my own life was sitting there waiting for the same attention. My boys were there, my health was there, the channel was there, the book was there, the vision was still there. And eventually I realised letting go wasn't really about pushing someone out of my life. It was about bringing myself fully back into it. Maybe that's what sovereignty actually looks like. Not controlling what happens, not controlling who stays, not controlling whether the life you imagined unfolds exactly as you hoped. Just recognising that your attention, your time and your creative energy are yours to place somewhere, and eventually deciding that the life sitting in front of you deserves them too. Letting go wasn't the moment I stopped loving the life behind me. It was the moment I finally gave my energy back to the life in front of me. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thank you, and Slàinte. Ciao.